Here's a fantasy for you. I actually win in fantasy football. Grossi Posse Packer Nation! Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom freaking frackin' can't catch a win to save my life, Grossi. And today we're going to be diving into the Week 11 fantasy studs and duds, taking a look at some guys you should start and some guys you should sit, because right now I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines while the playoffs go on if things continue. Over in the Packcast League, I was able to win in the original Packcast League, so I'm still chilling in 4th place, and I lost in Packcast number 2, chilling in 6th. Then my other leagues are just, I'm basically the Bengals at this point. So, there's a little bit of like a warning that comes with this of, listen to me, but maybe don't. And with that vote of confidence, let's get into the studs of the week. Number 1, we put him on the list last week, and he's on the list again today, and that is Panthers wide receiver DJ Moore, who had himself a nice game, got targeted a whole bunch and had over 90 yards against the Packers, is taking on the Falcons this week. Now, the Falcons obviously had a great game, and their defense actually showed up against the Saints and wound up obliterating the Saints and their offense last week. I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to continue this. It might be tough because it is a divisional game, and again, these are really hard to predict. But DJ Moore has obviously been one of the top targets, him, Samuel, and then even Greg Olsen was getting involved with it. But I think DJ Moore is still a safe bet, as he's still Kyle Allen's number 1, and he should be doing pretty well against the Falcons secondary. Then moving on to numero dos, that's 2 for our Spanish-speaking fans. We have, again on the list, David Montgomery, the Bears running back, going against the Rams. Montgomery's had a nice stretch of games, had a little bit of a lull last week because Mitch Trubisky was the guy who was making all the headlines and getting 3 touchdowns. Look at Mitch, look at you go. Taking on the Rams this week and on Sunday Night Football. The Rams defense is nothing like it used to be. The Rams just suffering a loss against the Steelers. I think that David Montgomery is going to have himself a good night, regardless if the Bears win or not. And then number 3, he was on the sleeper list last week and, had himself an okay game. His counterpart in New Jersey did better. But Sam Darnold is here simply because he's playing the Redskins. At this point, the Redskins are such a dumpster fire of an organization. I actually rank them lower than the Bengals just because of Dan Snyder, their stadium, and just their state of constant disarray. And so I think that Sam Darnold, if he can't do well again against this team, then I will never recommend you start Sam Darnold again. He's going to be one of those guys that, hey, like if you have Aaron Rodgers and he's on a bye this week, maybe roll with Sam Darnold. Then, moving on to our sleeper pick of the week, and that is Jaguars QB Nick Foles, who's supposed to be coming back in replacement of Minshew. Minshew has been struggling in the past few weeks. He's taken on the Colts, which could go either way. But the Colts obviously are a little bit of a downturn right now. And Nick Foles, for me, obviously coming out off a serious injury. That's why he's not on a stud list yet, because you're still not unsure of how he's going to look after a major injury. The Colts have shown, even though they're a little bit inconsistent, that their defense can be pretty good. But again, if you have to roll with a QB, maybe you go with Nick Foles. Then, moving on to the duds of the week. And I didn't think this needed to be said, but just in case, the Buccaneers defense. Yeah, the Buccaneers, and you'd be like, Tom, why would anyone play them? Well, you had the Saints who were only able to put up 9 points against the Falcons last week. I just want to make sure that you're not thinking, maybe the Saints offense isn't that good. This is going to be a shootout game, I think. Jameis Winston will probably throw a bunch of picks, but again, divisional game, it could go, and be a high-scoring affair. But yeah, don't start the Buccaneers defense. I don't care how desperate you are. I would be more certain not to start a defense and just take a 0 rather than start the Buccaneers defense. You're probably going to lose some points. Then, number 2, you have the Denver Broncos running back Phillip Lindsay. Phillip Lindsay has enjoyed himself a pretty good year thus far, but going up against the Vikings, who were able to smother Ezekiel Elliott, who never really got going. Again, that Vikings defense, when when they want to be, can actually be pretty good, and they're pretty hard to run against. And so I think Phillip Lindsay, playing in Minnesota, I think it's going to be a bit of a tough game for him, and I think it's going to be a tough start for him. And then number 3, another running back going up against NFC North defenses, and that is Todd Gurley. Yeah, I'm like off the Todd Gurley train at this point. He put up like 70 yards last week. It was okay, but they're barely utilizing the guy. They're going up against the Bears defense, and while the Bears defense is not as good as they used to be, they're still at least shutting down teams for the most part, and they are still pretty difficult to run against. And so I would be very cautious. I know a lot of you are going to start Todd Gurley anyway, but if you have any other options, yeah, I would try to roll with them this week because Todd Gurley has just been so damn disappointing. Right now, he's the Browns of fantasy running backs. So much potential, so much hype and expectations, and yeah, just a whole lot of nope. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How have your fantasy teams been doing this week? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com. We're at Tom Grossi Comedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course the YouTube. And a big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon members over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, watch The Mandalorian. It's really good. Go, Pack, go.